Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, my subscribers on YouTube, peeps on Facebook, everybody at House of Nerdum, and of course, all the NFL fans around the world. It is the dear UG here once again for his continuation of NFL picks for Week 17. That's right, Week 17 is this weekend. Woohoo! No Thursday games, no Sunday games, none of that. By the way, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everyone out there who are watching this right now. Good stuff today. Of course, let's talk about what happened last week for me. I went 8-8 for the season. I am 155 in wins, 83 in losses, and 1 tie. Now, of course, before we get to Week 17 and the playoff scenarios for this week, we got to talk about last week. So here we go. Thursday of last week, the Jacksonville Jaguars improved their record to 3-12 after defeating the Tennessee Titans 21-13 in what was a pretty good Thursday night game for two losers. On Saturday, things got weird. And good depending who you are. The Washington Redskins would get their fourth win of the year, defeating the Philadelphia Eagles 27-24, pretty much ending any hope the Eagles had at making the playoffs. San Diego, after looking at one point they were going to lose the game and say goodbye to their playoff chances, Mr. Dave Goodrich's team decided to choke, and the 49ers lost the game. San Diego made the comeback and won in overtime, 38-35. On Sunday, my Dallas Cowboys would clinch the NFC East with a win over the Colts, 42-7. Miami would defeat the Vikings thanks to a safety and would win 37-35. But unfortunately, Miami, you did win. You are eliminated from the playoffs. The Ravens, who had a shot to control their own destiny, would unfortunately screw it up and lose to the Houston Texans, 25-13. Now Baltimore has to get help. The Lions would beat the Bears 20-14, making this week's game against the Packers all for everything. Winner gets second seed. Loser will be heading to Dallas, folks. And that is no joke whatsoever. Now, North Carolina would keep their playoff hopes alive with an impressive win over the Cleveland Browns, 17-13. The New Orleans Saints would say goodbye to their playoff shot after they got utterly destroyed by the Atlanta Falcons, 30-14. Green Bay would win their game easily over Tampa Bay, 20-3. The Chiefs, who could have controlled their own destiny somewhat with a win, did not beat Pittsburgh, and that makes my buddy, the Ghost of Test, a.k.a. Andrew, a very happy man, as his Steelers are in the playoffs. So congratulations to Pittsburgh. The Patriots would defeat the Jets by 1 point, 17-16, locking up the first round bye and locking up home field advantage thanks to Cincinnati. The Giants would defeat the Rams 37-27 in what would end in a street fight. The Bills had an opportunity to keep their playoff hopes alive, but would fall short to the Oakland Raiders, 26-24. The Seahawks would utterly destroy the Cardinals, 35-6, proving Arizona may have a good defense, but has no quarterback whatsoever. And then, of course, on Monday, Bengals clinched their playoff berth with a win over the Broncos, 37-28. Now, let's talk about a few things from this week. Let's talk about the Eagles. Eagles got eliminated from the playoffs when Dallas got the division, and I'm happy about that. Don't get me wrong, I am happy as all could be on the planet Earth. But let's ask this question here. If Nick Foles would have been healthy, would the Dallas Cowboys win the division? I can't say. I firmly believe, and if you look back since that Thanksgiving game, the Eagles have been terrible. Mark Sanchez went back to what he's known to be, an accident waiting to happen. And here's why. You lost to Seattle 24-14. You lost to Dallas 38-27 at home. And then you just lost to the Redskins by 3 points. You know, so Mark Sanchez has not been playing well. I don't think he's going to get re-signed. I think granted, the Eagles do have other problems. I think defense as well. They had some injuries. But I think Nick Foles not being there for quarterback is what hurt him in the end to me. Unfortunately, the worst team this week does go to Baltimore. Sorry, Mom, but yes, the Ravens are the worst team after Week 16. Don't get me wrong, they have a winning record. But they went from controlling their own destiny to now needing help to get into the playoffs. That's not good. Also, the Saints would be as well. Most surprising team into the playoffs right now, I got to be honest. Out of the teams that are already clinched above, it's got to be the... I'm going to go with the AFC, and I'm going to go with Seattle, because just think, earlier this year we were saying, oh, Seattle, actually, right now, it's hard to say who the surprise team is. You could say Dallas, because a lot of people had them having a losing season, because everyone thought they were going to have the worst defense. Well, at this point, whoever wins the NFC South would be the most surprising team, since God knows the NFC South sucks. But let's go to those playoff scenarios for this week. In the AFC, New England's already clinched the AFC East and the first round bye and home field advantage throughout the AFC playoffs. Denver's already in, Indianapolis is already in, Pittsburgh and Cincinnati are already in. Now, Denver can clinch a first round bye with a win over the Oakland Raiders or a loss by Cincinnati. They can also clinch it if Cincy ties, and if Cincinnati ties the Steelers and the Colts win. Well, and a Colts win, I should say. Yes, I know. It's weird. Now, by the way, just to let you know, things will be weird. I don't expect it to end in a tie whatsoever. I don't expect any ties this week. So Dallas fans, don't get your hopes up for the second or first seed. I don't think it's going to happen. So yeah, there's that. The Bengals can clinch the AFC North title with a win or a tie. They can also clinch the second seed with a win and a Denver loss or tie, or a tie plus a Denver loss plus a Cincinnati loss or tie. By the way, I need to correct myself, since he can get the number 2 seed with a win and a Denver loss or a tie. Pittsburgh can clinch the AFC North with a win. They cannot move up. By the way, just to let everyone know, if the Bengals do win, they would move into the second seed. Pittsburgh would be the 5th seed, the way I have everything going. You know, but if Denver wins, you know, by the way, there's a good possibility that at the rate that there's still a chance we could see 3 AFC North teams in, but I don't know. Moving on, San Diego, who's at Kansas City this week, can clinch a playoff spot with a win or a tie with the Chiefs and a loss by Baltimore or a Baltimore tie. Now the Ravens can clinch a playoff spot with a win and a loss by San Diego or a tie by the Chargers, or B, they can tie with the Browns, but they would need San Diego to lose. Now, Houston Texans, you can get in as well. You play the Jaguars. All you have to do is win and hope the Ravens lose and the Chargers lose. Lastly, Kansas City, you're not out of it yet, but you would have to beat San Diego. Then you would have to hope for a Baltimore loss plus a Houston loss or a tie. So just keep that in mind. In the NFC, the Detroit Lions can clinch the AFC North with a win or a tie. Now, the Lions could also clinch home field advantage throughout the NFC playoffs with the following situations. Lions would need to win, and Seattle and Arizona would need to lose or tie. Detroit can also win the home field advantage if they tie Green Bay and Seattle and Arizona, plus Dallas loses as well. Now, Detroit can clinch a first-round bye with a win, a tie, and a Dallas loss or tie, or a tie over Green Bay and a Seattle loss and Arizona loss. Yes, I know this is hurting my throat too to talk, but I'm giving you all the playoff scenarios you need to know. Green Bay, they can clinch the NFC North, of course, with a win. Green Bay can clinch home field advantage throughout the NFC playoffs with a win, and they lost by Seattle. Of course, we know Carolina and the Falcons, whoever wins that game is in. Arizona can clinch the NFC West with a win and a Seattle loss, or a tie and a Seattle loss. Arizona can clinch home field advantage throughout the playoffs with an Arizona win, a loss by the Seahawks, or tie, and a Packers loss. They can also get it in if Arizona ties the 49ers, Seahawks would need to lose, Dallas would need to lose, and the Green Bay-Detroit game would need to end in a tie. Arizona can clutch a first round bye with a win and a Seattle loss, or a tie plus a Seattle and a Dallas loss or tie. They can also clinch a first round bye as well. Excuse me. With a tie and a Seattle loss and a Green Bay-Detroit tie. Now the Seahawks can clinch the NFC West with a win over the Rams, or a tie and an Arizona loss, or Arizona just simply loses this week. Seattle clinches home field advantage throughout the NFC playoffs if the following happens. 1. Seahawks win, Detroit-Green Bay game does not end in a tie. 2. Seattle wins plus Dallas loses or ties. 3rd, Seattle tie plus Arizona loss or tie plus a Dallas loss or tie plus a Green Bay-Detroit tie. Seattle can clinch a first-round bye with a win, or a tie and an Arizona loss, plus a Dallas loss, or a tie plus a Arizona loss, or tie plus a tie by the Green Bay and the Lions. I don't think that's going to happen. You know, just as a mental note for the fans of the big games, because most of the big games are happening late. Most of the other games are teams, you know, not really in a hunt right now, but are not the big games, you know. So, just as a heads up, mental note, the Falcons, Panthers, Lions, Packers, Broncos, Raiders, 49ers, Cardinals, Rams, Seahawks are all at 4:25. Those are because of seeding situations. And of course, the Bengals and Steelers game is on Sunday night on NBC at 8:30. Now, of course, it's for the one trying to battle for the 6th seed in the AFC. Those games are all going to be done early. So if you're Chargers, Chiefs, Texans, or Ravens, you got an early game. Let's keep that in mind. Now let's get to these wonderful, wonderful predictions, shall we? Oh, these are going to be fun and educational programming. And some of them will probably think I'm nuts. Game 1. The Panthers. We'll start with the Falcons. As you can see, I'm just going in the order that it was given here on the TV, on PS4. Panthers are on the road taking on the Falcons. Winner of this game will be the 4th seed, will win the Terrible South. I got the Panthers on the road winning this one. While yes, Atlanta's been looking hot and good, I just think Cam Newton, he's been playing great, and the Panthers are on a 3-game win streak, people. Keep that in mind. I think Panthers get over the hump, and maybe it might show maybe the Panthers don't need Steve. I can't even finish that sentence. They wish they had Steve Smith back. Ravens take on the Browns. This game will be in Baltimore. Rivalry game. Should be a very interesting matchup. I got the Ravens over the Browns. I think Ravens will get a winning season, but do I have them in the playoffs? Keep listening. Cowboys will take on the Washington Redskins in Washington. I'm taking the Cowboys on this one for the simple fact of this: A, they're my team. B, Dallas can get the 2nd seed and the 1st seed. It's a long shot. It's like a 2% shot of happening. And the reason I say that, and the good thing I had the ESPN playoff machine in front of me, let's just say, the Niners beat the Cardinals and the Rams beat the Seahawks. Well, Dallas would move into the 2nd seed if that happens, if the Cardinals and Seahawks both lose. And if by some strange miracle the Packers and Lions game ends in a tie, Dallas would jump to the 1st seed as long as Cardinals and Seattle lost. But I don't think that's going to happen. You know, granted, don't get me wrong, I'm happy they're going to do it. I'm happy they're going to try. But it's like, yeah, I would just rest the starters and get ready for the wild card game. That's what I would do, but that's me. I'm still picking my Cowboys, though. Moving on. Colts take on the Tennessee Titans. I am taking the Colts on this one. Like I've said, they can get the number 2 seed here in the AFC if the following situation happens. Oakland beats Denver somehow. And for some weird reason, yeah, they pretty much can't. You know they can't. They can get the 3rd seed. That's best they can do right now. They're pretty much stuck at whatever position they're at. You know. So, Colts were pretty much... They got to play, though, for this reason, though. 2nd seed's not going to happen. That was my fault. They could get the 4th seed if they lose. And the Bengals... Now, of course, if the Bengals win and Denver loses, Bengals would jump to the 2nd seed. But they got to win out, and here's the thing. They're pretty much going to be the 4th seed no matter what. Because, you know, so, yay for them. But I'm still taking them anyway. Packers versus the Lions. This is in Green Bay. Winner of this game will most likely be the 2nd seed. Loser of this game will be most likely heading to Detroit, depending what... well, loser of this game... Why did I say Detroit? Loser of this game will be heading to Dallas, unless something weird happens. And the Cardinals and fucking damn Seahawks both lose. I'm taking the Packers though in this one. Should be a close matchup. Should be a great game. I think Packers win this one though because of field goal kicking. Texans take on the Jaguars. I'm taking Houston at home. Excuse me. J.J. Watt's been having a great year. Jacksonville, while they have been showing signs of intelligence, but yeah, I'm taking the Houston Texans. San Diego travels to Kansas City. This game has a lot on the line if you're the Ravens or Texans here. You're becoming Chiefs fans for this one, but San Diego's going to stay classy and move on to the wild card game. I got San Diego winning on this one, particularly after what they did to your team, Mr. Goodrich. Chargers will win, I think. Excuse me. A lot of talking today. Dolphins take on the New York Jets. This game's in Miami. Yeah, I'm taking the Dolphins on this one, and then right after the game, I wouldn't be surprised if we hear the Jets have fired their head coach. I would not surprise me in the least if we found that out that happened after the game. The Bears travel to Minnesota to take on the Vikings. Hey, Paul Martin! I'm picking the Vikings! It's the end of the world. The Bills travel to New England to take on the Patriots, and this is my first of 2 big upsets for this week. I am taking the Buffalo Bills on the road to beat New England. I don't think New England's going to play the starters. This game really means nothing to them. They're the number 1 seed already in the AFC. I don't understand why I know you're supposed to play to win the game, but this game means nothing. Period. Nothing. Now, if Denver would have won on Monday, then it would be different. But this game means nothing. Expect Tom Brady to be with his wife. Giants take on the Eagles. I'm taking the Giants on this one. Eagles have looked very pathetic the last few weeks. You just heard why. They don't have Nick Foles. If they did, I think they would have been in the playoffs. I'm taking the Giants. Sorry, Eagles. Bengals at Steelers. Like I said, this is the late game on Sunday. I am taking, and I'm sure Andrew's going to hate me for this, I am taking the Pittsburgh Steelers to win the game. I'm taking the Steelers at home on this one. I do not trust the Bengals at all. Don't get me wrong. They did beat the Broncos. But Bengals have been up and down all year long. Same as the Steelers. But if I got to pick a quarterback on this one, as much as I like Andy Dalton, Big Ben has played better on prime time with the lights on bright. Bengals have not. So, I'm taking the Steelers. Moving on. The Saints take on Tampa Bay. Good old Buccaneer land, but I'm going to take the Saints to win this one. This game means absolutely jack shit. Unless, of course, you're Tampa, because I believe if Tampa loses, they get the first pick in the draft. Poor whoever the first pick is in the draft. I apologize for you going to Tampa. You know, they got a great head coach. They just don't have talent. The Oakland Raiders travel to Denver. Now, of course, Rock and Reese, remember how I said this is where I was going to get a lot of what the fucks? Yeah, here's the biggest what the fuck I'm going to get all season. I am taking the Oakland Raiders. Yes, I am taking the Oakland Raiders to beat the Denver Broncos. Denver's look terrible. I don't know who they are anymore at this point. I don't feel confident in taking them to having them be a playoff team at this point. So yeah, I'm taking Oakland to win the game. Deal with it. Just deal with it, deal with it, deal with it, deal with it. Cardinals take on the 49ers. You know, San Francisco does not have a quarterback whatsoever in their life. Oh, wait, no, wait, that's Arizona. Well, wait a minute. No, let me rephrase that. Arizona doesn't have a quarterback. Then San Francisco, I know I'm screwing up, botchamania, blah, blah, blah. Arizona does not have a quarterback. But hey, guess what? 49ers don't have a team at this point. I'm taking the Cardinals. Last one on this list. Rams at Seattle. I'm taking the Seahawks. Did you guys not see what they just did to Arizona, folks? Come on, Arizona. Look what they did to Arizona. I'm taking Seattle. So just as a recap, I have Panthers, Ravens, Cowboys, Colts, Packers, Texans, Chargers, Dolphins, Vikings, the Bills, the G-Men of New York City, the Steelers, the Saints, the Raiders, the Cardinals, and the Seattle Seahawks winning in Week 17. But what does that mean for the playoffs? Well, if everything goes the way I have predicted, here's how it will be. In the AFC, the number 1 seed will be the New England Patriots. The number 2 seed, by sheer dumb luck at this point, will be the Denver Broncos. As far as for the 2 wildcard games, Game 1 will be the San Diego Chargers at the Pittsburgh Steelers. The second one will be the Cincinnati Bengals at the Indianapolis Colts. Of course, the NFC, Seattle would be the number 1 seed, followed by Green Bay. Your 2 wildcard games, I have it being this: the Detroit Lions at the Dallas Cowboys, and the Arizona Cardinals at North Carolina. Now let me know what you think. Do you agree or disagree with my picks? Do you disagree with how I have the playoffs being set up? Let me know. And until I see you for Wild Card Weekend, have a Merry Christmas, have a good New Year, and I'll see you next time, folks. Playoff time. It's almost upon us, brothers. Woo!